Good afternoon, I'm Katarina, this is Megan. Anglesey Passive House was shaped with the intention to create a sanctuary, one with both passive and architectural principles. The residence generally integrates itself into the surrounding native bush through a collection of natural materials that rest lightly on the ecosystem. Located on a hill above the Great Ocean Road overlooking Point Road, Night Beach, Wadawurrung Country, Anglesey Passive House was designed to embrace the expansive views within the established tree line.
It was important to our clients that the home was not only architecturally striking, but also sustainable and performed well. Our clients previously lived on a 10-acre property in a lovely architecturally designed home, but had been disappointed with its thermal performance. Downsizing to a smaller site, living comfortably throughout the entire year, was a priority for this design. The existing site was a dense bushland. Our intention was to achieve a delicate balance of retaining the existing trees and ecology, meet the BAL 29 rating requirements, and ultimately reveal views tapering down the slope to the sea. This plan demonstrates the extent of the established vegetation on the existing site. We thoughtfully sifted through the bushland in order to gain what we believed was the perfect balance of bushfire requirements, views, and ultimately our clients' desires. At Zen, we traditionally take a solar passive approach to sustainable design, orientating the building to the north. But using passive house construction allowed for a siting that let us sculpt the light coming into the building and frame the views without compromising on the thermal performance. Placing the view lines to look through the canopy allowed for the retention of as much vegetation as feasible and meet planning height requirements.
There is a 10-metre drop from the front to back of the site. From the street, Anglesey Passive House looks to be a single-storey residence embedded within the landscape. However, as you move through the site, the double-storey, 200 square metre form becomes evident as the architecture begins to cantilever but also meld itself into the sloping landscape. Our clients were after a home that allowed for ageing in place and that captivated not only the coastal views but the feel. The floor is distinguished by its ease of navigation. The couple can predominantly live in this space comfortably, as it consists of the main living and bedroom zone. The lower floor, accessible both internally and externally, consists of zones that connect our clients with their passions, as well as the flexibility that allows for guest accommodation or secondary living spaces. The material palette is a balance of refinement and raw finishes. The lower floors create a completely different experience to the upper floor. It allows the user to feel as though they are deep within a native bushland. The material palette is a balance of refinement and raw finishes. The inspiration for Anglesey Passive House palette was an obvious choice, the surrounding surf coast. The internal blade walls are lined with sustainably sourced triple gum timber battens, which were halved in depth to double the usable area. The internal floor is solid cork, a renewable material with low VOC finish, like the Hames paint selected. All visible internal steel elements, such as joinery items and the stairs, have been left unfinished to minimise additional processing and increase future recyclability. Similarly, the form-ply ceiling was also left unfinished. The fittings and fixtures are gunmetal. They have been sourced from a local manufacturer and will require minimal maintenance over time. Local furniture craftsmen and manufacturers were engaged, where possible, to create unique moments and items within the home. All the steel joinery items have had distinctive details made for this home. All the internal concrete items, specifically this precast island bench, which was designed through collaboration with no iterations to create something visually fluid yet robust. In an effort to fulfil the client's desire for an environmentally conscious lifestyle, the aim was to design a house that was as sustainable as possible. The home is all electric, supported by a solar 7.4 kilowatt PV panel system with 11 kilowatt battery to electrify the hot water heat pump, charge the client's electric vehicle, heating and cooling based on the HRV unit backed up a reverse cycle split system, and power the induction stovetop. 10,000 litre rainwater tanks harvesting has also been implemented for garden irrigation, used for raised veggie gardens, toilet flushing and laundry use.
Externally, the architecture is striking, but not dominating. It was always intended to feel like a living element within the established environment. Much of the timber is reclaimed and recycled, most of it old wharf timbers. This timber was joined in full lengths using dowel jointing jig, avoiding offcuts by not having to dock timber at fixing points, and ensured that 100% of the timber sourced was used. Batten screens to the front pivot to allow for privacy and northern light, depending on the client's whims. It allows for them to give back to the street and open up the house to interact with the neighbours, but also the flexibility to enclose the house when desirable. Screens to the rear balcony allow for the expansion and contraction of the views out to the sea, but also screen the light and filter the neighbours. Wide expanses of openable triple glazing, either end funnel through the light and views. The client still wanted to be able to open the house on nice days to let in the sound and the breeze. Although being passive, we still wanted a home that could be deeply in tune with the living rituals unique to the inhabitants and bring in the surrounding environment. The aim was to achieve the quantitative and qualitative outcomes of a passive house design: airtightness, thermal insulation, high performance, thermally bridged triple glazed windows, and mechanical ventilation with a HRV unit, without at all compromising on the architecture and the design intent. We were fortunate to work with a certified passive house builder, AFI Projects, who have a passion for the performance and attention to architectural detail. We collaborated with AFI to achieve R10 floor and ceiling insulating requirements, where we had narrow floor plates or the underside of cantilevers to resolve issues of the thermal bridging where we had steel entering the building. Although it's not visually evident, the house is built with 340mm thick walls. This allows for 140mm timber stud and R5.9 insulation and the requisite double skim. Large triple glazed windows brought their own challenges with seals and flexing. However, they are designed for passive house and allow you to adjust the tolerances on the seals. Ultimately, we achieved a blower door test of 0.5461 at 50 pascals. In conclusion, to quote our clients, on wild and windy days, the house is very calm. It's a sanctuary, but on warmer days, you can open it right up and hear the waves and birdsong while the inside remains beautifully cool.